Okay. So induced field, we have done it partly before we had one week kind of break from regular subject. For 1 week, we moved on to something we spend more time on revision. So this we did before this a week long break, and actually more than a week long. And this is part of induced EMF. This is part of EMI only. See, let's understand what it is different. This is this when we talk of EMI, electromagnetic induction, we divide into two parts: motional EMF and induced field. And the reason why we divide into two parts, we have done it once. Please try to focus better this time, so that again those who missed it last time will understand better. See, what we understand so far based on understanding of current electricity, for current to flow across a resistor, presence of electric field is a must. This is what happens in case of normal electric flow, and this is a relationship. Electric field is equal to sigma times J, and J is the, what is, this is rho, and this is J. This is the, what is J, this J called? Sorry, I have not written, this is not J cap, this is J. This is, what is this term called? Current density. Okay, so in this case, what happens? What makes the current flow possible? This is work is done by electrostatic force, which causes free electrons to accelerate, and they gain kinetic energy, which they lose when they suffer collision. So here, work is being done by electrostatic force, and it gets lost in elastic in case of collision, and the loss of kinetic energy, it results in form of heat energy. That's what typically happens. But what is necessary? Work is done by electrostatic forces. Here also something similar happens, but work is done by a non-conservative force. That's the difference here in induced field. That's what we are trying to understand. Induced field, here it is electrostatic forces, electrostatic field. Electrostatic is because of like what you may call as based on Coulomb's law. Induced field is a little different, and that's what we have to understand. Induced field is another kind of field. It's an electric field, but not electrostatic in nature. It's called induced field. When magnetic field changes, so this one is caused by like point charge arrangement, and this is caused by magnetic field changes. Rest of the behavior, some of the things are similar, some are not similar. That's what you have to understand here. Induced field, when magnetic field changes, is different from electrostatic field. But even this field also does work on free electron, resulting in current. So this work done here, this also doing work, and so there is some similarity as well. So what is work done by the induced field? Work done by what? So if the field is induced, work done by a field on a unit charge. If I have to calculate what is the total energy the field is giving to unit charge over the entire loop, which is called EMF. What is the work done on a unit charge? So when we have to calculate work done by unit charge, that is equal to energy supplied to unit charge, which is called EMF. That's our understanding of EMF. In a typical loop, a battery provides that energy to unit charge, which is equal to EMF of the battery. So if you take it for a loop, EMF will be equal to work done by field over the entire loop. So this is how we write. We write it like this because this work is done over the entire loop. By which field? This field is induced field, dot dl. And EMF is also equal to d phi by dt. Hence, this is the new equation we come up with. So E dot dl over the loop, or line integral of induced field over the loop, is equal to d phi by dt induced EMF, which is also equal to d by dt, normal understanding of flux change. So let's look at some of this understanding here and why it is different. So just say here, conducting loop is placed in a magnetic field. If the magnetic field is constant, we have taken a magnetic field which is cylindrical in shape, and field is perpendicular to plane of figure. And field exists only in the circular region of radius r. I have not written the radius. Let's see, the radius is r. So this field is something like this. If we take the cross section of a solenoid also magnetic field will be like this, which will be uniform within the solenoid, outside becomes zero. If a field is steady, and if we place a loop here, this loop will not have any current. If field is steady, and it makes natural sense why the current will not be there. But if magnetic field starts varying at some time t is equal to 0, how do we vary this magnetic field? We can vary this magnetic field, if it is a solenoid, by changing current. If we increase the current, field will increase. If we decrease the current, field will decrease. It leads to induced, this leads to current. We will find the current starts to flow when the magnetic field is changed. Now let's start thinking. So what does current change? See, if it is increasing, which direction will the current flow? If magnetic field is increasing, it means flux will increase. If flux is increased, induced field current will be such that induced field will be in this direction. So current will tend to flow in this direction. This direction in the current will flow, anti-clockwise. So the question comes here. See, initially before at up till time t is equal to 0, the free electrons on an average were at rest. Okay, so what has caused them to move? Which force is responsible for initiating the motion of the free charge? There's no electric field present, there's no charge separation, there's no charge arrangement. And magnetic force cannot initiate motion. So since magnetic force gets, so if magnetic force cannot initiate motion, it has to be something similar to electric field. Okay, so but it is similar in the sense it is producing similar effect, but its source is different. So this makes us come to conclusion to explain this phenomena. There's another type of electric field which is induced, which is not due to charge arrangement, and that field is called induced field. So soon after magnetic field start varying, some force must have acted in the free charge at rest, and that force has to be electric field. So this electric field produced by time varying magnetic field is called induced electric field. And what are key differences is non-electrostatic, and it is also non-conservative in nature. What does non-conservative mean? If I draw this field here, you all of you know how to draw the field lines for magnetic field lines. What do we use to draw magnetic field line? We can use a magnetic compass. Can anyone think of making an electric compass? Can you make a compass, electric compass, which will indicate the direction of electric field? Can we think of making some electric compass? Anyone can think of how we can make an electric compass? What does magnetic compass do? It points in the direction of magnetic field, or it is aligns itself along the direction of field. So similar way, if I take a if I take an insulating small rod, if I place positive charge at one side and if I place a negative charge at the other side, it becomes like electric dipole. And this also will always tend to align itself in the direction of electric field. This also can act as a what you may call as electric compass. So if I use an electric compass in this region, if I draw electric compass, I'll find the field lines will form a circular loop. And this is very unlike electrostatic field lines. Electrostatic field lines do not form a closed loop. And it forms a closed loop. This itself indicates it is non-conservative nature. If it is forming a closed loop, work done in the closed loop will not be equal to 0. Hence, for this, potential difference is not defined. So there are 2-3 important and small points. Don't have to overthink this one. This is simple points we need to keep in mind. Okay, so can we calculate this induced field and can we experimentally check? See, for calculation of induced field, there has to be some kind of symmetry. So typical case we'll check whenever there's a cylindrical symmetry, this induced field can be calculated. Because whenever if magnetic field is symmetric, the induced field which will get created also be circular in nature. And so if I take a circular path, and if the circular path is concentric with the magnetic field, everywhere on the circular path, the distance being same, because of symmetry, the magnitude and direction of electric field will be, magnitude will be same and direction will be tangential. So it can be calculated only in case of symmetry. What kind of symmetry? Cylindrically symmetrical magnetic field as created by solenoid. It could be some other source also. Let's see how do we calculate by applying Faraday's law. So suppose I need to calculate this magnetic field present here, and which is varying as dB by dt is equal to A. Let's say if it is positive, it indicates magnetic field is increasing with time. And let's say this is the area where magnetic field exists. I want to calculate what is the induced field at point P, which is at a distance r from the center, and r is less than capital R. Capital R is the space where magnetic field exists. To calculate induced field here, similar to Amperian loop, we'll say we take a circular path so that it forms a loop, and you can apply Faraday's law. So we choose a circular path here, we choose a circle kind of thing here, and then consider point P at a distance r, and owing to circle, and everywhere on this the field will be tangential induced field. That's why the current flows in the direction. And in this case, if we apply Faraday's law, Faraday's law gets a relationship between EMF and rate of change of flux. But EMF is also equal to, what is EMF is also equal to E dot dl over the loop. And since E is constant, is everywhere tangential to dl, and cos theta becomes 1, it is E into dr, which is E into 2 pi r. That's what it is equal to. So that's the additional thing what we have here. This is old thing what we know already. Only thing what we have added the concept of induced field, and EMF we have equate. EMF is nothing equal but equal to E dot dl over the loop. So from here, if we look at this relationship, we can find E is equal to RA by 2, A being the rate at which magnetic field is increasing. So what does this indicate? The field is increasing linearly as the distance from the center. So if we at the center, the electric induced field is 0, it becomes maximum at this point, at small r equal to capital R. And we can experimentally prove it also. If I keep a charge here at point P, it's possible to experimentally calculate what force acts if dB by dt is known, and that tallies with this. So that's the reason there experimental proof. And since this field is not created by any charge system, that's why it is given a different name called induced field. Okay, similar way, now if we have to calculate, would the induced field be induced outside the cylindrical region? Again, we are confining our discussion to cylindrically symmetric magnetic field. How is the magnetic field created? This magnetic field exists in a circular region of radius r, and magnetic field is varying at a constant rate, dB by dt is equal to A. At that instance, this is a rate of change of magnetic field, and outside the circular region there's no magnetic field. So this magnetic field exists only within this region. I want to find out what is the induced field at point P. To find induced field by point P, to take advantage of symmetry, again we take a circular loop of radius equal to small r. Here this distance of the point P from the center is greater than radius of the space in which the magnetic field exists. So here also, as for again, which equation we're going to use? Similar equation. EMF is equal to d phi by dt, and EMF will equal to E dot dl for the loop. That's what you're going to do. So again, this is induced EMF d by dt of PA. When we talk about what is the flux over this loop, which we are calculating it for E dot dl for what? This pathway. So this area. So what is the flux, if I have to calculate a flux over this loop, over this area bounded by this? So there are two reasons here. See, one is there's one area where there's a magnetic field, and other area there's no magnetic field. So when we have to calculate flux, we calculate flux for two regions, d by dt of B1A1. B1A1, I am assuming this, calling this area as 1, and using the suffix 1 for this area, and using suffix 2 for this area. So in this area, dB by dt, and clearly in this area, dB by B itself is 0, and dB by dt is equal to 0. So when we write for the smaller area is pi r square, and dB by dt is equal to A. So pi r square A, but this term will not come into picture. So this area, there's no flux and there's no change of flux as well. So this is EMF induced. EMF induced will equate to E dot dl. E dot dl is what? E dot dl is equal to 2 pi r into E. And when we apply Faraday law, equate 2 pi by E is equal to EMF, which is we have calculated pi r square. A being the rate at which magnetic field is changing, and find the value of E here. E is equal to A into r square divided by 2r. Here what we notice, this electric field, induced field, is decreasing as an inverse function of r. So from here, if I have to look at how the field varies, if I have to draw the variation of induced field as a distance from the center till the region where magnetic field exists, it increases linearly. Thereafter, it decreases linearly. This is how it varies. Okay, let's look at some more application of this. Uniform something is confined to, again, most cases are cylindrical symmetric magnetic field. Radius is r. Magnetic field is increasing, and the constant rate of dB by dt is given, and electron of charge q is placed at point P. So if electron is placed here, question, we need to find the acceleration this electron will experience. So what my steps are to, I need to find acceleration. Again, thinking backwards, to find acceleration, what I need to do, I need to find force acting on this. Force will be equal to E into field. So essentially what I need to do, I need to find field at point P. To solve this question, actually this question is equivalent to find field at point P. Which kind of field? Induced field. Is there any charge arrangement to create this field? No. This induced field is not because of this is not electrostatic in nature. It's not because of charge system. It is because of change in magnetic field. Now that's what we have to. Again, we have to remind ourselves it is due to change in magnetic field. And how do we find this out? We find it out using this equation. We use EMF. And most cases we'll just use the magnitude. Direction we'll find out using Lenz's law. So most cases I'm not writing the sign. EMF is equal to d phi by dt, and d phi by dt will be equal to E dot dl. That's what we are using all the time. That's the only thing we need to use here. Let's see. So when we write here, which is loop we have taken, E dot dl, which loop? Okay, this loop has, we have to take advantage of symmetry. So loop is passing through point P, same radius R. So this point is simple. E dot, this will be equal to E into 2 pi r. And what is d phi by dt? It is d by dt of flux through bounded by the loop. What is the area bounded by loop? Pi r square. And angle between field and the area vector is 0. So cos theta term is 1. So directly I can write B into A. So this into B. And so which is equal to pi r square, area is not changing, dB by dt. And that's what this is, dB by dt. So this gives me value of E. So E is equal to what here? This pi term gets cancelled, one of the R term gets cancelled. So we are left with dB by dt into R divided by 2. That's electric field. Hence, what will be acceleration? If this is the field, so force will be equal to, so sorry, directly you can write acceleration. Acceleration is force by mass. It will be equal to E into E by M. Question is, if we have to find which direction, what is the direction of acceleration? How we find direction of acceleration? One way of, I think, rather than looking at this, one way of, easiest way of finding the direction of acceleration is on the negative charge particle. Can we find the direction of current at this point? If the loop is there, can we find the direction of current? So acceleration of electron will be opposite to direction of current. So what is the direction of acceleration of electron? Direction of acceleration of electron will be equal to opposite to direction of current. And which makes sense. Current moves, but the current is positive charge, is negative, opposite to direction of current. How do we find direction of current here? Using Lenz's law. So, in this case, what is given here? It is increasing. If it is increasing, the current will be such that induced field will be dot. If induced field is dot, this is how the current will be. If the current is like this, it means positive charge at this point is experiencing force towards right, and hence electron will experience a force towards left. So acceleration of electron of electron of charge q. We have written electron of charge q. Okay, so basically the charge is negative. So which direction the force will act? Acceleration will act towards left. So what should be my answer here? It should be not towards right, it has to be towards left. So do we get our answer here? Yes. So electron of charge is, just take it as E only. Okay. Something like this. And so suppose again we have one more extension. Let's see, this is something again a cylindrical. In all cases we are confining ourselves to magnetic field which is cylindrical in nature, typical to what is created by solenoid. So in this case also let the be R. So we have something, some of you might have noticed this term, something like this. Have you seen this kind of term somewhere else also? Does anyone recall any similar term somewhere else? Whereas we had a line integral over a loop. We had in case of Ampere's law. In case of Ampere law, also what is the line integral? But that was the line integral of magnetic field. This also is a line integral of electric field, induced electric field. So in a way, there is similarity between the two. And you notice this question is very similar to some of the questions what we have done in case of application of Ampere's law. Okay, so suppose I need to calculate E dot dl from A to B. And what is A to B? The figure are not incomplete. A to B is like a square. And if this angle is given as 90 degrees. Okay, if I have to calculate what is E dot dl from A to B. E to D, this is not easy to calculate. Only way you can calculate if there's some kind of symmetry. So if one way of thinking would be, I have drawn the figure. So if it is AB is one side of the square, E dot dl for AB will be equal to what? E dot dl for AB will be equal to 1/4 of E dot dl for the entire loop. That's one way you can interpret this one. So what you can do in this case I can calculate E dot dl for the entire loop. Divide by 1/4 will become from E dot dl from A to B. And what will be the E dot dl for the entire loop? E dot dl for the entire loop will be equal to d by dt of BA. Right? And how much that would come to? That would be 1 by 1/4. Area will be pi r square. Even if I take the loop, the magnetic field exists only in this area. So when we take this flux will only take in the circular space. This side there's no flux. So when we take the area is not the area of the square. Area is the area of the circular part, and into dB by dt. So that will be the E dot dl. And what will the direction? Will it be positive or negative? Can we tell what E dot dl will be positive or negative? So let's first to understand whether it's positive or negative. Let's figure out what will be the direction of E. Which direction the field will act? The field will act in the direction where the positive charge will move. So direction of E, how would you find out direction of E here? How do you find the direction of E? The direction with the positive charge will move, or direction with the current will flow. Which is equal to direction of current flow. What is the direction of current flow here also? If dB by dt is positive, in that case current will be flowing in the anti-clockwise direction. If it is flowing in the anti-clockwise direction, E will be having component in this direction. If E is having component in this direction, from A to B, this term will be positive. So it will be E dot dl will be equal to positive if dB by dt is positive or increasing. And if it is decreasing, other way around. Okay. So similar to this, if you suppose it takes some other question also, some small variation of the same thing. Let's see. If I erase all this thing, I'll ask a separate question. I say this is the field available. Okay. And from here, I take a rod. I take point P and Q, which is from here at a distance of D. And this angle and this angle, both are 30 degrees. And dB by dt, field is decreasing at the rate of A. Can we find out in this case E dot dl from P to Q? How do you find out E dot dl from P to Q? Suppose I have to find here. From P to Q.
So like we can form a hexagon like that, right, sir?
Either we can form a hexagon, or do we need to form a hexagon? Do we recall something similar we had done in case of Ampere's law? What will happen? See here also one more loop. One is you can form a hexagon. Yes, this particular case you can form a hexagon. So is there any other way? So one way of finding out, even though it is not forming a symmetrical loop, we can create a symmetry by forming a hexagon. So one way approach is forming a hexagon. So we have to form the area of hexagon and area enclosed by forming an hexagon. Any other method we can think of? What happens if I take this loop itself? O to P. Because see, to apply Faraday's law, I need to have a loop. What if we form a loop OPQ? If we form a loop OPQ. Now in OPQ, I can calculate flux, I can calculate EMF, and then EMF I can equate to E dot dl. But if I calculate for E dot dl, OPQ, E dot dl also can be written as E dot dl, very similar to what we had done in case of Ampere's law. I can write it O to P plus P to Q E dot dl and plus Q to O E dot dl. And so what will the flux here? Flux we can write. What will the flux here in this case? Flux will be equal to B into area. Okay, if height is D, okay, and easily what will the area be? If height is D, it will be 2 by root 3 D base. So area will be equal to B into 1 by 2 D into 2D by root 3. So what is the EMF? D phi by dt. So that will be equal to D square by root 3 dB by dt, which is equal to D square by root 3 A. But what about this term here? I want only, which term we want? I want only this term. What will be the value of these two terms here? It's a loop. I have EDL from O to P. Because I can, if to apply Faraday's law, I have to form a loop. Without loop, and P to Q and Q to R. What is the nature of field lines here? Field lines, electric field lines also, which are getting formed, are circular in nature. And that's what used to happen in case of Ampere's law. If field lines, induced field lines are circular in nature, what will the E dot dl from O to P and Q to O? These two will be equal to 0. These two both will be 0. Why it is 0? Because O to P and Q to O are radial direction, whereas E forms concentric circles. So any shape, whether this something, so any shape we can easily find a similar way. You can, so any shape, if any rod is given, any straight path is given, is it possible to find E dot dl across any straight path? Is similar to previous question. I connect it to the center. If I know this angle it is forming here, if I know this area, E dot dl is equal to d phi by dt for the entire area. You connect the two ends of any straight path, connect it to the center, it forms a loop. E dot dl for the area is equal to d phi by dt of the area so formed. Tejas, have you gone into your head?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Easy?
Yes, sir.
Very similar to what you have done in case of Ampere's law. Let's look at something like this. Can we solve this question here? Let's see. A triangular wire frame is placed in the region of time varying magnetic field. d by dt is given, so it's placed in a magnetic field. And Jaideep, how do we create a magnetic field? How do we create this kind of field, and how do we create varying magnetic field? Can you think of arrangement which can create a varying magnetic field? Jaideep?
Yes, sir.
How do we create varying magnetic field? Are you able to understand what this arrangement implies? See, this
yes, sir, but I'm not sure how to create one.
How to create one? Okay. Okay, let me ask somebody else who can. Disha, can you create this kind of magnetic field? How do we create such a magnetic field?
Not sure, sir.
Not sure. Okay. Abhirup, how do we create such magnetic field?
We can take a solenoid and increase the current with respect to time.
Correct. No, that's what we just mentioned something. See, basically, how, first of all, this field is uniform, though time varying. It's a uniform, the low time varying magnetic field. And if I take a solenoid, any cross section of the solenoid, this is what this radius indicate, radius of the solenoid, and field will be along the axis of the solenoid, either towards us or away from us. And we can, if I vary the current in the solenoid, magnetic field also will vary. So we can create, and what is the field outside? Outside field is 0. So symmetrically, so if you have this kind of field which is uniform but time varying, you understand the difference between the two. Any point at an instance, any point within this region, field is same. Any point within this region, but from time to time it is varying. It's a uniform but time varying magnetic field, and any time varying magnetic field creates induced field. We understand that we should understand moment as a time varying magnetic field. It will create an induced field, which is not because of charge arrangement. It is created for God knows what reason, but it gets created, and it exerts force on the charge in the same fashion as an electrostatic field exerts. Force exerted on any charged particle is Q into E. Only thing, it is not electrostatic nature, it is not conservative, and this field is created by time varying magnetic field. So we hope you understand how the magnetic field is created. If I have a solenoid, if I pass the current I, it will have a magnetic field mu naught I within this cross section, uniformly over the cross section. If I vary the current in a uniform fashion, as the current vary, magnetic field also will vary with time. And this is how it is created. And we create a triangular wireframe. Each side is 2 meters. This wireframe is placed here. And base of the triangle AB has a resistance of 1 ohm. Okay. This has 1 ohm resistance. Okay. Other two sides have resistance of 2 ohm. This has 2 ohm resistance, and this also is 2 ohm resistance. So, okay. The question are asking, what is the magnitude of potential difference between A and B? Will there be any potential difference between A and B? Actually, the correct answer for this one should be there's no potential difference. Then your question may come with the potential difference. Will the current flow here? The current will flow, but there's no potential difference. Can anybody recall why I'm saying there's no potential difference despite the fact the current is flowing? This current is caused not by electrostatic field. This is caused by induced field. And corresponding to induced field, there's no concept of potential. We will not use the term potential difference, is only associated with conservative field, conservative forces. Hence, the term potential difference will not be used here. So sometimes the question may be given to mislead you. Whenever this is there, the current will flow. And but this is not potential difference. We will not call it potential difference. So can we ask what is E dot dl between A and B? Yes, you can ask E dot dl between A and B. What is the E dot dl between A and B? That is easy to calculate. E dot L between A and B will be equal to 1/3 of EMF in the loop. 1/3 of the EMF in the loop. Are we clear about this part? Why it is 1/3 of the EMF in the loop? Because of symmetry, all three sides will have same E dot dl, and entire E dot dl is equal to nothing but EMF induced in the loop. So what is E dot dl for AB induced in the loop? Okay. So can we calculate what is the E dot dl? So you understand difference between the two. Why not potential difference? Because whenever we talk of induced field, 3-4 points we have to keep in mind. Again, I'll repeat what are the 3-4 points of difference. What is a specific point related to induced field? Induced field is created by time varying magnetic field. Okay, this is not electrostatic in nature. This is not conservative. Hence, potential difference is not defined for induced field. It produces force equal to QE, similar to electrostatic force. So any charge placed in the region where this induced field will exert a force. And finally, it forms a closed loop. So these are 4-5 points related to induced field. And this is something potential difference will not be there. And finally, every time I have repeated 4-5 times, all we need to understand, if you take any loop, E dot dl for that loop is nothing but equal to EMF induced in that loop. And if the symmetry exists, something like this, the E dot dl about one side will be equal to E dot dl other side, other three sides. So E dot dl along one side will be equal to 1/3 of the EMF induced in the loop. Otherwise, E dot dl I could have also calculated by connecting it to 2 ends. and taking this loop. And this area becomes 1/3, same as before. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
but the potential, like the EMF induced won't be the potential difference between A and B, right, sir?
See, only problem in this. See, it's like this. If an object falls from some height in building, and it falls here, it loses potential energy, it reaches here, right? So this is something, it gains kinetic energy, it reaches here. But object can be moved by some other force also, no? Some other force may do work, it may give kinetic energy. So object falls from height h, if mass m falls from height h, it gains a kinetic energy equal to mgh, right? But can we not give kinetic energy to object in some other form? Again, I use a force which is not conservative. The work done by force is still equal to change in kinetic energy. So you may think, array, from here, current is flowing, there has to be potential difference. But here, the motion of free electron is not due to electrostatic field. Motion of the free electron is due to induced field. Induced field is not conservative. And hence, I cannot use the term potential difference.
Yes, sir.
Arika, can you repeat what I said?
So like here the force is not conservative.
Yes, basically it's free charge and motion, current is flowing. So what does current flow implies?
So there's a potential difference.
No, current force doesn't imply. Current implies something is accelerating the free electrons. Some force is acting, some force is doing work. But which force is doing work here? Earlier, the potential difference used to lead to electrostatic field. Potential difference is nothing but potential gradient is nothing but electrostatic field. That used to do work, that used to accelerate your free electrons. What is accelerating free electron here? Not the electrostatic field. Induced field is accelerating. That is causing charge, current flow. Are you clear now?
Yes, sir.
Tell me again what you have understood.
So there's no need of a potential difference exactly to cause the flow.
We need some force. We need some force to make free electrons move. That force does work, it accelerates. After acceleration, it suffers collision, it loses kinetic energy. Where does the kinetic energy? It goes in form of heat energy. So the potential difference, actually, when we use, typically all along we have used only potential difference. Potential difference implies, potential gradient implies field, electrostatic field, which does work, which accelerates, and then collision and loss of kinetic energy, and then it again acceleration. In this case, it is all similar. Only difference is the force which is causing free electrons to accelerate is not a conservative force. The field which is causing acceleration is not a conservative force. Hence, I am not using the term potential difference. That's the only difference.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll stop here. I think it's time for the next session. So I'll mostly morning session tomorrow I may not have. I'll go to hospital tomorrow. And evening session, I'll have normal teaching session. If there's any change, I'll let you know accordingly. Okay. Thank you. I'll end the session here.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, I didn't understand why we need